Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Monday night meeting. We've got a very special guest tonight. We got Dr. Kim Bynum. Hey, Kim, how are you doing tonight?
Awesome.
Awesome. So just before we get started, Kim, just tell everybody a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to talk about Operation New Uniform.
All right, fantastic. So I am Kim Bynum, a 21-year Navy veteran, and have been familiar with Convene for several years now. Matt and I actually reconnected. We served together. You guys all know the story. And so it has been a long time in the making for us to bring this online course for Operation New Uniform to fruition. But we are finally getting to that point and ready to launch in January. So as far as me, my relationship with Operation New Uniform is they were founded, it's a nonprofit founded in 2014 to assist veterans and now military spouses in their career transition. But I have been a part of ONU, whether as a volunteer or on the board or now as an employee, almost since it was founded back in 2014. Right now, my role at ONU is I am the Chief Operating Officer, and Jody, below you guys, you all know Jody, she is our marketing assistant and also is the one that's putting together the majority of the content and really the ONU page and all of our groups and subgroups and all that. So she's kind of my right-hand person on this.
Yeah. So Kim, what made you want to work with Operation New Uniform? Because you come from a leadership background. So just talk a little bit about that, what you found special about Operation New Uniform.
No, I appreciate you sharing that with me or letting me share that with you about ONU. Bottom line is when I first was in touch with Operation Uniform was 2014, and I transitioned out 2013. So I was feeling those same pains of what am I going to do now that I'm out of the military? Who am I? All those types of things. And so Operation New Uniform, that's what we do. It is basically it's wraparound services from the time the veteran is out of the military or getting out of the military for the rest of their life, basically. And the career transition program is the training on what you would expect, interview, resume writing, all that kind of stuff. But really what made me want to work with Operation Uniform and made me passionate about this organization is I feel like ONU as a career transition service provides something that maybe others miss. And that's the mental part of transitioning, the mental part of getting ready to go from something that you know and you're familiar with to kind of the land of the unknown, which is corporate or entrepreneurship. And so that's kind of our niche. Our niche is that it's a very personalized, customized approach that really focuses on the veteran or the spouse. Where are they at now with their confidence, with thinking about what they want to do next, and just giving them the mental headspace to be able to go and take on that challenge of career transition.
So you and I and Eugene, Jody, there's a lot of us inside of Convene that have really been a part of transitioning, been a part of the military and transitioning, out of the military. Why is it so hard? Because it is hard. It's not an easy transition to go through and to take place. And so why is it so hard? Why do you find it so hard?
I think the thing that I found with at least what I went through and what we find to be a familiar theme with all the veterans, and by the way, Jody is also Operation New Uniform alum and graduate, so she can talk to it as well. But my thought is, and what I see and what I felt was, what makes that transition so hard is that for a lot of us, the role that we had in the military kind of became our identity. So I couldn't separate, and a lot of the veterans and spouses that come through, they can't separate who they were in the military and what that was like, and now they come out to civilian world and it's just like, this is crazy. This is not the same, or I don't know what it is. I don't know what it's about. So really, I think it's the theme is what makes it so hard is it's so unknown and uncertain and so different. And one veteran told the story about, it's like you got plopped down in Japan and you had to go, you don't speak the language, you don't know the lingo, you don't have any directions, you don't know what the rules are. It's like getting dropped off in a foreign country, this whole career transition thing.
Yeah. So I always say, if I'm going to talk about it, I always say, in the military, we have this security blanket over us. We really do. We have this Marine Corps, I call it the Marine Corps security blanket, because you're going to get paid on the 1st, you're going to pay it on the 15th, you're going to get holidays off, you're going to deploy, there's all kinds of family services surrounding you and taking care of you. So you have this security blanket around you, and then all of a sudden it's gone. And then I always say, if let's say me and you and Jody and Eugene, if we walked into somewhere all together and somebody was trying to mess with us, well, they're messing with all four of us, and that's just how it is. We support each other like that. We're in the fight together. It's not always that way in the civilian world. So it's so foreign to us when we're getting out to go through that transition, and you often feel lost, and I was in Jacksonville, North Carolina for a while working on the V-22 program. Well, guess what? I wasn't in the military anymore, but I wasn't a civilian, because my civilian friends were like, well, you're still a Marine. My civilian friends, well, I kind of lost because I wasn't in the units anymore. And it was hard. It was hard. And I think that you guys help answer a lot of those things.
And I think that brings up a good point about the family and the camaraderie and just having that tribe. In the military, we had it, we had it, it was always there. We could always reach out to it. And then when you're in transition, like you just said, you lose your military network now because you're over here, but you haven't quite established this new tribe out in civilian land. And one of the things that I'm very proud of with Operation New Uniform is, we've got 400 graduates, and it's kind of like a new family for them, right? So we get out of the military, we're kind of lost, we're like, where's our peeps? And then Operation New Uniform, you come through that program, and now you've got like this new set of peeps that has a shared experience, but you've got a new tribe, you've got new support system out here, and teaching veterans and spouses how to expand their network and grow their network out in corporate so that they can begin to have those new relationships and form that new support system.
Yeah, so I want to talk about, so I've been talking about the four of us, but guess what? Omar just got out. So I want to touch on that. And so what would you tell Omar, somebody who's just getting out? What would you tell him? What advice would you give him?
My biggest piece of advice, and that I say at every class, and any veteran or spouse that'll listen to me, is this. This is such a huge opportunity for you to pivot and really design your life the way that you want it to be. And I feel like a lot of us, when we transition, we don't take the time because we've been so structured and kind of told what to do or where to go and all that. The world is our oyster, which can be overwhelming. So my biggest advice to somebody like Omar would be, please take the opportunity and think about not just your career, but how do you want to design your life, and then fit your new career into how you want your life to look. And that is a big part of what we at ONU really focus on with our vets and spouses, is helping them formulate that plan.
Yeah, and so Omar, his wife is still in the military, so she'll, eventually get out too. So, Omar, so let's just say he lives in Colorado, right? So, that's one of the objectives here with ONU coming into Convene. So talk to that and how somebody like Omar could get involved with y'all's courses.
So what we started doing really because of COVID was we went from just being an in-person training program to online, right? So we started using Teams, Zoom, whatever for our virtual. But what we found, this is pre-Convene, what we found was we did that, but then we still had Omar out in Colorado hanging out there by himself. And so we didn't have that leave behind. We didn't have that place for him to kind of come back to. And so while we do serve nationally, and they can, all of the folks can come to our classes virtually, what we found was we don't have that leave behind, so that group, those new graduates, can continue to have the family and have the resources available to them. And so we're really excited for that part of it, that part of Convene, for ONU to give us that, as well as the ability for folks that may not fit in their schedule to attend, and timed synchronous, I guess they would call it, class, right? So they don't have Monday through Friday, 8 to 3 right now. So that's why the flexibility of bringing the online course into Convene, it will allow anybody, no matter what their schedule is, no matter where they're at in their journey, they have access to this life-changing material.
Yeah, and so that's really cool. So a lot of times people don't think of nonprofits as a business, or but it's a business, and it's really there to support a mission. And so how is, you're kind of touching on it, but how do y'all plan to roll it out across the whole country? Have y'all gone that far? Have you thought that much?
Yeah, so it's a little bit scary, right? So we're launching this online course in Convene, which is a platform, that everybody's not, around, but our goal is just to blitz, right? Our goal is the same way that we grew our traditional program, which was word of mouth through veterans and through their spouses. And so our plan right now is to blitz. Jody's in charge of social media and PR and getting us out there. I'll give you an example. We did a meeting with Synapse so we could do our 007 hubs, so we can, so we're taking advantage of everything that we can do. But what I believe it's going to take is that word of mouth from the folks that go through that first class, the first quarter of 2023, and they go through it and they go out and tell all their peeps, which is kind of the same thing that has helped us with our in-person class. But now we've got Convene supporting us, right? So from a business standpoint, it's not just about our alum that are in the class, it's everybody that comes into Convene can play around. They're in the military and veteran community. They go and they see it, and now everybody can do referrals, right? So everybody in Convene can now do the referrals. So it's pretty exciting, but that's kind of the strategy and the rollout now. I'm looking at the board, I'm sitting in my program director's chair, and she's got 4 people already signed up for our online course, which we're not even done building yet. So it's a little
exactly.
scary.
Omar, you need to sign up. So another thing, what's in the course? Explain that.
Yeah. So basically the course consists of, typically it's a 2.5-week in-person course. What we're doing online is we're spreading those modules out. There's 12 modules. There's really 15, but they're numbered 1 through 12 with a couple extras. There's 12 modules in there with lessons inside of each of those modules, and it covers everything from, everything from, hey, you got to have your attitude right, before you can move into behaviors, and then we'll teach you technique, to, hey, all the headspace stuff is in there. It's just a typical online course with modules and lessons in there. And the way that we're building it out is lots of videos, so you're going to see us, but also lots of homework to do. And I totally lost track of what your original, so what all is in there. So everything from the headspace stuff, the head trash, how to get you confident, to everything you would need to know to be able to find a career, that's the online course. But in that same ONU group, we've also got employer resources, or employers. We've got resources like all kinds of other VSOs, that organizations that support veterans and spouses will be in there. We're planning on migrating our own staff stuff over to Convene. So it's, and also that leave behind. So each ONU class has its own group that they can communicate with each other in, but they can also communicate to all of the ONU grads from day one inside of Convene. So it's the course. And like I said, it doesn't matter what you need. We've got the lesson in there. If it's, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up, we have a lesson. You don't know how to negotiate salaries, we have a lesson. And Jody's reminding me that it's not just about corporate, finding that corporate career. This program is designed specifically to help entrepreneurs. So if you're going to corporate, you're selling yourself. You're the product, you're the product that you're selling. If you're an entrepreneur, you come through the course and then you're ready to go out and nail it, selling to your clients or your customers.
Absolutely. And that's exciting for me as the Convene owner, right? Because it's exciting because we are a resource. So hopefully some of these entrepreneurs will do the same thing and take the platform, and they'll run with it, and help the platform grow. So that's exciting to me. I think that's really, really cool. And I think the other thing that's going to be very helpful with this is the collaboration side of it. Your students and the people the alum and everybody coming through, they're really going to be able to collaborate with each other and going to lean on each other. Not all about the job, but hopefully some camaraderie, mental health stuff, and all those different things that we as veterans need. Talk about that a little bit.
And that is so important. And what I love about having our online course inside of the Convene, because those communities, like you said, those are all going to be resources for our students. I mean, there's like you said, there is a mental health group, there's physical fitness, we're looking at it from a holistic standpoint, and we've already got communities and groups and resources inside Convene to push those veterans and spouses too. So, to me, that's the important part, is that camaraderie is not just within the ONU graduates themselves and their little groups, but step it up, just the military and veteran community itself. They can kind of hang in there. And then all those other resources that you talked about. It's kind of a snowball effect.
Yeah, and I can touch on a couple of those things because you were, I was, Jody was, Eugene was, Omar is. For example, we're all parents getting out of the military. And that is a huge transition because you're transitioning your kids from being in the military to being out of the military. And so I think communities like the parenting community, the uniquely you and uniquely yours, I think Josh, Griffith coming in with his community supporting some of those initiatives and all that. These are going to be places that will help push each other to help each other collaborate in those spaces that, that's not necessarily what, Operation New Uniform is, but that those things are out there.
I think so too. And you talked about the kids, but also just, from a marriage standpoint, the relationships, that transition, man, it's hell on these relationships when you're finally home after never being home. You gotta, kind of get back at it. And all of that exists in Convene. So I think it's going to be really important for us as leaders on this group, on this call, to make sure that we're leveraging that, so that Jody and I, we have to be super uber aware of all of the different things that are in Convene already, so we can present those and link those and add those as resources and push our folks to do it in our discussion boards or even in our activities.
Yeah, and I would encourage you guys too, as this grows out, to go out there in some of the other communities and maybe bring in some interviews, that you can put in the blog space, where you're bringing some of these experts in, like Kate Gallahue, or the other people that can really kind of just talk to some things that people might be interested in. So this is really cool. What else do you want to add? I want to open it up for discussion as well. I'm so excited about this. Like I said, I transitioned out in 2007. I was medically retired, and it was brutal. It was tough. It was tougher than I assumed it would be. And I was still working in the V-22, and then we ended up moving, and then it really got tough when I left the V-22 program. And so there was nothing out there like this at the time. We've come so far in the veteran space. I didn't do anything veteran to veteran until 2019. Think about that. And so I had been out for 12 years. These resources weren't there.
Wow.
It's important, So anything else you want to add, talk about? I'm excited.
So not for me necessarily, but I really would love to turn it over to Jody, just because she's built out the entire ONU group, and I'm sure I've forgotten some really important stuff. So Jody, just anything else that we should be talking about or that should be added?
I mean, you mentioned the entrepreneur. I wanted to kind of bring that on. Kim is the reason why I went through ONU. I saw everything that she was doing, and I realized that I could still do my business too. But when she talks about the mental health side of things, I have a whole kind of journey about that. I talk about a little bit of that journey in my book, because I didn't choose to get out. And so when I got back to the States and I found out my career was over, my business was suffering. I was suffering. My husband was actually in New Mexico at the time. And so I was basically single mom mode, falling apart. So my daughter would go to school and I was falling apart. So everything was just crumbling. And it was because, like Matt said, I had that security blanket that whole entire time. And, we had some unfortunate financial things that happened right before I got out too. So it was just, there was so many things that I just didn't even know how to get through. So I really appreciate the program and what it did for me. My husband went through right after me. He came to my graduation and he heard my testimonial. He saw me going through it, but he didn't really, get it. So I usually tell people, come to the graduation. Come to the graduation. If you don't understand, that's what did it for me. I actually had a friend who was not a veteran who just happened to invite me to that one graduation. And I heard those testimonials and I went up to Kim and I said, oh my God, I need this. And she said, I know. And I was crying on her shoulder. And so anyway, about the online course, I'm grateful that, this opportunity came, and I'm grateful that ONU trusts me to do this. I have been building out a whole lot in the back end. There's 49 veteran subgroups that have been built out. but there's one big, huge veteran subgroup. So I love that because they're going to be able to talk to each other. When I went through, they used what's called Group Me. They're still kind of using that now, but they used that and it was great. I got to talk to my class, but I didn't have any way to talk to any of the other veterans that I went through the program, you know? And so this way we're going to have all these other veterans, hopefully that'll come back in and they'll be able to talk to each other. What worked for you? What didn't work? What, you know, what was your experience after ONU? So I think that's going to be really important just to be able to share those experiences with other people. We now have the spouses program. So I built out the spouse so where, you know, they can talk to each other. I was able to build out a group for the boards. So eventually we'll get the boards on there and, you know, the boards can talk to each other. So when we have things like Heroes Gala, we're not getting 50 million emails. We're actually being able to talk right inside of that group. So I really am I'm excited because I know I see the potential. I'm so grateful for Lisa Herring. She brought me to Convene. And because of her, and because of Matt not letting me go when I didn't understand it, you know, I just kept coming back. So that's what I tell people. I'm like, you might not get it the first call. Just keep coming back, keep coming back, keep coming back, keep touching it, keep trying. Don't give up because here I am. I'm able to help other people build out their communities, build out their groups. I'm helping health coaches, people like Omar Ricardo will be there too. They get to be groups now, which that wasn't an option for us before. And now ONU gets all these resources to health coaches. And, you know, Josh is doing a lot with men's mental health. And that's huge because, you know, a lot of men don't have that.
I mean, how many people want to learn how to make lots of money? I can't
Yes.
wait to push them up to your course.
Stop.
I mean, it's just, there's just so much to it. And I think that, you know, from an ONU standpoint, I want us to be the example, Matt, that you go, hey, I want to show you this group so that you can show them, here's it, you know, it's one-stop shopping. We have our class here. We communicate and collaborate over here. Our staff is on it. Our, you know, all that stuff is there. Just to have a full-blown, if you're a nonprofit, and frankly, if you're a business, I mean, it is this, you know, to me, it's the same. But to be sort of that model that you can really show, here's a big picture overview of a little bit of everything, because you know, we could use it for our project management, even getting Convene, you know, done. So on and on and on. But that's kind of where we're at. And that's my goal for you would be that we get this built out and do such a good job that you would use it as sort of your prototype from a big picture, all the ways that you could use Convene to run your business or your nonprofit. Or
100%. That's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to make the videos that we talked about, get it put together professionally, and we're going to use it as our marquee nonprofit that's using it, training organization, because you're more than, you know, just a nonprofit, but you're a training organization, you're a collaborative organization, you're a support network organization. I mean, you're everything built into one. And I think it's going to be a huge model for us, as well as you're going to help inside of that military community. You're going to be leading the charge that's going to help the military community grow. And it's so important to understand. I've talked to a lot of people about this is, you know, if Operation New Uniform brings in all 500 of their alumni, that's 500 people coming into the platform. And that's basically people that are going to start going out to other communities. They're going to start going out and buying Eugene Brown's course. They're going to go and join the parenting community. So it really helps the whole platform. And it's just wonderful. It's a great thing. We have a gentleman coming in. I'm so excited about this because this is going to help his whole thing. He's an Army veteran, retired out, and he's writing a course on filing for VA benefits. It's in the process now, and he's using the same lady that wrote Lisa Herring's course and all that. So it's, you know, we have the processes in place, and we're going to be able to help others, entrepreneurs and everything grow. So it's really exciting.
I know Eugene's he's chomping at the bit. I know he's got 800 things we need to be doing.
Yeah, he does. He drives it. I'm going to turn it back to gallery view. And I just want to open it up for everybody that's on the call do you have any questions for Kim or Jody about what they're doing and how they're organizing it or how they're building it out? Does anybody have anything they want to add or ask?
I don't have a question. I think you guys are pretty thorough with everything, but I would want to emphasize what you've already talked about, and that is leveraging the stories. Just listening to Jody share her quick story, I was kind of dialed in because I know you well enough, Jody, to picturing what you've gone through when you transition. And if you can capture those stories, a few from each class, we can take those little 3-minute interviews, if you will, and then leverage it with a link and start to help you grow ONU, on a larger scale, just to kind of help us help you in the whole process. So the stories matter and the reviews matter. So I just want to say that.
Hold on right there. So at Tasker, I think, Jody, one of the things that might be important for us, and I don't know where it would fit in at this moment, but all the testimonials that we've already created and gathered, we need to find a repository for that, at least until we figure out where we want to plug them in. But to your point, that's what people care about. They want to hear people's stories, and that's what they'll relate to. And we've got some of that, but again, you're right. I think sprinkled through our entire program, whether it's the training program or just the groups or subgroups. But I think, Jody, for now, we need to collect all those. Josh has them kind of all over the place, and let's get them into Convene.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. Because yeah, it does matter. And even before I became part of the team officially, I was sharing my story with a lot of people, because it is a story that I didn't share because I didn't really want to face it, to be honest. I didn't really want to face that I was crumbling. I didn't want to talk about that I was crumbling because I was supposed to be this strong person that didn't have feelings or whatever. And I was just kind of holding it together as much as I could, but it got to a point where I couldn't hold it together anymore. And when I talk to some veterans, they feel that and they understand that. And that's why I did write about it in my book a little bit in the mindset chapter, because I wanted people to understand, like, hey, you're not alone. And I think that's the biggest part. That's what I love about Convene, where we get to share our stories and we get to tell people, hey, you're not alone, and we get to be authentic, we get to be transparent. And that's something that a lot of us, especially those of us that were in the military, I don't think many of us really got to do that, especially Matt, you got, well, I think you, Eugene, Kim, y'all are officers too, so I can only imagine. I have one of my clients right now, she's a Marine officer, or she was a Marine officer, and she's struggling right now. And I just
I'll say something to that, Kim. It doesn't matter if Jody, it doesn't matter if you're an officer or it doesn't matter if you're enlisted. We're all people, and that's the facts. That's the reality of it. Just because you might be some officer, it doesn't mean that you have this body armor on you that causes no problems to come near you, either being in the military, your job, your marriage, your parenting. Those things are all still there. It makes no difference who you are. A lot of people think that, and there's a lot of people who struggle through that, and it's sad, it's a transition. Some of the people, to Kim's point a minute ago, some of the people I never would have thought would have gotten divorced coming out of the military, they've gotten divorced, and it shocked me when that happened. There's so much that goes on. Brenda, I don't know if you're here, but I forgot to mention that that's my my other Marine on this call. So she's also Marine as well. So what else? Anybody else got any questions?
Eugene he only got to say one thing. He only got to say that about make sure we gather the stories. Did you have more?
No, but I will, hopefully you guys will get like an ONU tab as far as the stories. And I know I'm circling back to it, but the stories matter. If you guys have a number of them, we'll be able to utilize those stories and kind of pick and choose. If I know I'm talking to a Marine that may be interested, I can grab a Marine sort of story there. So if you can compile enough of the, ONU matters or ONU stories matters, whatever that's called, it's just going to help us help you. So I probably have a bunch more to say, but I'm too tired, Kim, so it's good to see you.
I hear you. I'm
I
telling
think
you.
we
Thank
all
you,
are.
guys.
I did want to say to your point, Eugene, and I'm grateful that ONU did this for me. I was allowed to share my story in one of their newsletters, so I did post that in the ONU group. But yeah, that's a great point. We're just gonna keep getting those stories and just keep sharing them, and so that way more people can learn about ONU. And I know so many veterans all over the world that are gonna benefit from this. So I'm excited.
All right, anything else? We'll go ahead and wrap it up tonight. This is great. Kim, Jody, I'm excited that ONU's here. It's going to make the military community really grow. In a selfish way, I'm excited as a retired, medically retired veteran. I'm excited that this is going to be out there for other people, for Omar, for other veterans coming out, because it's such an important thing. When you go through the transition class from the military, they teach how to write your resume and they say, okay, good job, go, see ya. That doesn't help you. It doesn't help you. So I'll give you the last words, Kim, as we close it out.
Last words are, Jody and I will make it a point to, when we come across all of our testimonials and we have like a really powerful one, Eugene will love to share those with you guys, and however we make our videos to promote and all that. But my final word is just really grateful, Matt, that you put this together, that you have the heart for nonprofits to be able to be on there for free, and we still find a way to make money. I know this has been a big labor of love, this project for you, and just grateful that you built it for us. And if we at ONU can help be a part of making it grow and get better and bigger, then it's just win-win-win all the way around. So appreciate you.
All right. Thank you so much, Kim. And thank you, Jody.